ABC Listen. Podcasts, radio, news, music and more.
Every time that I was jumping, it was just worship. I was like, let's go. And so even if waiting and out there in the rain, I have such a joy because I know these moments are these moments are forever. Like the gold medal was the added bonus, but being out there and enjoying it, I'll never forget what I just experienced.
Nicola Olyslagers, fresh off a high jump gold medal at the World Champs. The 28-year-old is vocal about the strength she takes from her religious beliefs. And on the final night in Tokyo, there were biblical proportions across the event. The insane volume of rain, the astonishing heights that were being cleared, the scale of the achievement. And Olyslagers was just one storyline. We saw heartwarming comfort between competitors, controversy in the discus. There was a lot going down, and we're going to unpack it. I'm Patrick Stack. This is ABC Sport Daily. The World Athletics Championships have wrapped in Tokyo. It was a heck of a meet. ABC Sports writer Simon Smale covered it. He's here to talk us through a bonkers final night. Simon, Nicola Olyslagers claimed Australia's lone gold medal, I think, at these World Champs, and it was dramatic. How would you describe what we saw there?
Dramatic's probably the best way I could think of describing it, to be honest, Stacky. Any of these high jump pole vault events where, there's the anticipation of an athlete trying to get over the bar always has that degree of anticipation and drama and the pause as they fly over the bar. There's always something about it that's very, very special.
Olyslagers and a little bump, but it stays up and that could be huge. In the race for gold tonight, Olyslagers clears 2 metres first up.
Nicola Olyslagers came into this competition probably as the favourite. I mean, look, she is not the world record holder. That goes to the Ukrainian athlete, but she's certainly an impressive form this year. She's actually won, I think, most of her battles this year, 4 titles. She won the Diamond League final. So she was certainly in great form and just looked supremely confident. She's always a very effusive, happy athlete on the runway, whether she gets over the bar, whether she doesn't get over the bar, doesn't really matter. But she needed to channel all of that positivity in Tokyo last night because midway through the competition, up to which point she was absolutely perfect, clearing all of her heights without a single failure, the heavens opened and it was apocalyptic rain.
Again, the rain comes tumbling down. And this is really frustrating for all the athletes. They've already worn one rain delay. Now look up to their coaches just to reset, and again suspended due to weather.
The competition got suspended for almost 2 hours. There was a long delay. And in that time, she just had to wait. She had to get her notebook out, as she so often does, jot some little notes. I think she said she drew some stick figures in there. Yeah, she had to really maintain her composure. And then she cleared 2 metres. She failed 3 times at 2:02, which was after the second rain delay. So a long way off her best, but given the conditions, still a very impressive performance. And on countback, she won the gold medal, her first outdoor global title. So very, very impressive.
I can only imagine how hard it would be for the athletes when the weather is wreaking such havoc with the competition from a mental and physical standpoint. We know with Nicola, she is a devout Christian. She runs her own ministry. How significant is that religious piece to what she has just achieved in Tokyo, do you think, Simon?
I think it's almost everything. There were a lot of instances of this over the course of the competition, but athletes from Australia spoke a lot about, not being defined by results. She spoke about how when she was in Tokyo at the Pandemic Olympics in 2021, she left with a silver medal. It was amazing. But in 2017, at her first World Championship, she came dead last. She didn't even complete a starting height. She didn't even get over that.
And I've seen year by year just a gradual progression up. But when I came last, I remember standing out there and I had so much peace because I knew that my performance didn't determine my identity and my value. So then coming in as number 1, the pressure was off because I knew if you can't lose anything when you come last and you can't gain anything if you come first, so let's go out and do it. And so when the rain was pouring out there and I was waiting for hours between the attempts, it was a joy because the light was inside of me. And I knew that if Jesus was enough for me when I was last, he's enough when I'm first.
She quite often describes her leaping as a form of worship. And, you know, you can talk about that with athletes, talking about how it transcends their sort of physical state of mind. And that's obviously something that's very, very key for her.
I was loving it. I didn't mind the weight. Of course, the raindrops started sideways underneath our towels and then we had to go over. But again, like, I was just spending time with Jesus out there, and I was like, I could be here for hours. The stadium can shut down. I'm in my happy place right now.
Obviously has a huge impact on her. And look, you can't say it hasn't worked. She's a world champion.
While Olyslagers was beaming after the victory, fellow Australian Eleanor Patterson was emotional in a different way. She finished fifth, but maybe one of the more touching moments was the way that she comforted her competitor. What can you tell us about that, Simon?
Well, this was really beautiful because of the disrupted nature of the competition. It was midway through when the rain came and they justifiably had to stop it. So there was a situation where Yaroslava Mahunkic, who's the world record holder from Ukraine, capable of doing incredible leaps. Her world record stands at 2:10, so she was well under her best. But Serbia's 21-year-old Angelina Topic was sitting there with a share of the bronze medal and had to wait. And she had to wait for the rain. She had to wait. And all the while, the thoughts and emotions were churning through her head. She'd failed at 2 metres, so she had cleared 197. As it happened, Mahunkic had failed at 2 metres as well, but then had passed her next 2 attempts, so she could have 2 attempts at 2:02. She knew she needed that if she was going to get the gold medal because Olyslagers had already gone past it. So a little bit of jumping tactics there. But it meant that if she failed at 2:02, then she would share the bronze on countback with Topic. But Topic said she just couldn't really handle it.
I was sitting with Eleanor Patterson from Australia. She was holding me like a baby.
Patterson is a lot more experienced. I mean, I'm not going to call her desperately experienced, but she's in her late 20s and a lot of these girls are quite younger. She looked after her. She sat next to her, hiding under an umbrella. There's beautiful pictures of her, Patterson and Topic, just sitting, Topic with her head on Patterson's shoulders. Patterson, who, of course, would have been very disappointed at not clearing 2 metres to get into a medal contention herself. And Patterson said that she was actually very proud that she was able to be a part of that moment.
That was a beautiful moment for me, and I actually am, in some ways, happier that I didn't jump 2 metres, that she was able to have that moment and I was able to share it with her. It was,
you were huddled together under the umbrella.
Yeah, it was a beautiful moment of just humanity and sportsmanship, and she just really came to me and I was like, oh, wow.
And I think in high jump, you know, the end result of every competition is that you fail at whatever height you get up to. So you kind of have to find that love of pushing yourself to an extreme and then only getting to that extreme and no further. And I just thought it was a beautiful moment, and you could tell that Topic was so appreciative.
I mean, she's such a great friend of mine, and she's such a great, amazing jumper, and I mean, that aside, she's such a great friend and such a great person, and I really needed somebody at that moment, and I was just so scared I couldn't say a word out loud.
I think that was just a real beautiful moment amidst the chaos.
That was a feel-good moment in the rain. It was not the case in the discus, where Australian champ Matt Denny found himself in a maddening situation. What played out here, Simon?
Impossible. So high jump, as we can probably be aware, is dangerous if you're going to go up over a height, because you need to have grip to take off the track. But the difference is, I guess, with high jumpers is they're wearing spikes, and that's the same with track athletes. We saw an incredible situation where the track athletes were literally running through puddles during the relays. It was quite remarkable.
Jamaica and Great Britain down the backside, and look at these puddles.
Discus isn't like that. They wear a particular type of shoe that allows them to move across the concrete circle to get traction and then launch these discus, you know, in excess of 60 metres, in excess of 70 metres on some occasions. The competition started and Nicola Olyslagers managed a legal throw. Didn't go too far, wasn't too bad though. Matt Denny, though, he slipped, he fell, he put his hand down, he tossed the discus out of the circle in disgust.
So Denny first up. Oh, goodness me.
Oh.
Slipping and sliding. This isn't what a World Championship final is all about.
Oh, he's pissed off. He's slipped and then he's just ditched that discus. He's angry, and that's going to be a no mark for him. So this, he almost rolled that ankle there. So, you know what? I think after this, they actually might pause the competition, because this isn't what elite sport is about.
And then they decided, look, this is ridiculous, we're going to stop the competition. 2 hours passed while the rain continued to fall, the relays were run, the closing ceremony took place, and then, according to World Athletics, the vast majority of discus athletes wanted that competition to take place. Now, I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but Matt Denny didn't look like he was one of the people who was particularly pleased to be out there when competition resumed. And it was clear that he wasn't, because he was slipping and sliding all over the place. Now, athletes have to wear a particular type of footwear to be considered legal, but World Athletics waived that. They said you could wear whatever you like. You even saw one German athlete wear socks, because he figured that was probably going to be the best way that he could get any traction on these incredibly slippery conditions. Matt Denny put tape on his standing foot. Other people wore like one trainer and one throwing shoe. It was impossible, really. It was very, very difficult. Lukas Weishanger from Austria, he went down really hard. And these are big men. When they go down with some force, and it had a really huge impact on the competition. Half of the throws that were made were illegal, were slipped and slid out of the circle, or the discus slid out of their hands. It was just frankly ridiculous. And everything was going okay, really, for Matt Denny. He got a decent throw out. He was sitting in second place. Then he dropped to third. And then he got moved out of the medals. So continuing, some pretty bad luck. He's an Olympic medalist, but he has had bad luck at major competitions in the discus. Has Denny. The only, I guess, silver lining from our region, if we're going to sort of move our umbrella around the region, is that Alex Rose of Samoa won its first ever World Championship medal. So that was pleasing, but it came at the expense of Denny in what was actually a pretty farcical competition.
It was an odd way to end what was a wonderful championships. Thanks for pulling it all apart for us, Simon. Appreciate it.
No problem, anytime.
Headlines. NRL, where we feel like we're hearing the sound of inevitability.
And this awesome rugby league machine from the foot of the Blue Mountains sets up a date with the Broncos in a preliminary final.
The Panthers, my days, from having their season written off to a Final Four appearance for the 4-time reigning champs. Penrith dispatching Sydney rivals Canterbury with an exceptional display at Stadium Australia. So it's Panthers-Broncos on Sunday, and this will be billed heavily around Nathan Cleary and Reece Walsh. One is clinically brilliant. The other is chaotically damaging. Both the box office. Oh, and Adam Reynolds will be back for Brisbane. In the Friday clash, the Storm host the Sharks. Would a win there ensure Cronulla finally got the respect they feel like they've been denied to this point? Probably, because the Storm, as we always know, are a competition benchmark. In the AFL, you probably know by now that we're down to 2. Geelong fans still delirious, really, from the brilliant display that Patrick Dangerfield and co delivered in the comprehensive win over a brave Hawthorn. The heartbreak story for the Cats belongs to gun defender Tom Stewart, who is concussed. He will miss the season decider. Their opponents, the Lions, are seeking to go back-to-back. And the focus this week, from a Brisbane perspective, will no doubt centre on dual Brownlow medalist Lachie Neale and whether he's ready to return from a calf injury. When he first injured himself, it occurred in the qualifying final defeat to Geelong. Neale had been rated at that point a 1% chance to play again this season after the upset prelim victory over Collingwood. The midfielder was confident and spoke about the fact that he ran 7 Ks on Saturday. Formula One, where Oscar Piastri crashed out on the opening lap of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. He still holds a 25-point advantage in the race for the F1 driver's title because McLaren teammate Lando Norris could only finish 7th and failed to cash in on the Australian's error.
And now Piastri's in the wall. On the day McLaren could clinch the Constructors, he's crashed at turn 5 and 6. What is going on lap 1 in Baku?
Max Verstappen did not waste the McLaren crisis. He won the events and closed to within 69 points to give his title hopes a pulse with 7 races remaining. And Jay Vine has won silver in the men's time trial at the World Cycling Champs in Rwanda. I'm Patrick Stack. This is ABC Sport Daily, produced by Poppy Penny. Thanks to SBS, Channel 9 and Fox Sports for the extra audio used in this episode.
Discover more great ABC podcasts, live radio and exclusives on the ABC Listen app.